Howdy, folks. So today I'm sitting here with Lois Webber. Got it
You
right.
got it.
Lois Webber, and we are at UBC on the campus where she lives with her family. Now, Lois is going to be the person that's going to be running our non-profit organization aimed at building the South Africans in Canada Institute and everything we have planned around
Very,
that.
very exciting.
Anyway, so I thought what we'll do is we'll just get to know Lois a bit. So, Lois, when did you guys come to Canada? How long have you been here?
I've been here I came via spousal.
Yeah.
So I have a very handsome Canadian husband. And we've been here for 7 years now, total.
7 years. So
7
it's you and your husband, and do you have kids?
I do. I have one daughter, little Adelaide. She's 14 years old.
Oh, nice. And you guys live on the campus because your husband works...
He works for the Faculty of Medicine as an IT consultant.
Okay, awesome,
So
man.
yes, we're in
So you've
staff
been on the
housing.
campus for how long?
For three and a half years.
Okay, nice. It's actually quite beautiful here. It's the first time I got to UBC. I've never been here, I suppose, because I don't have kids of varsity age.
Yeah.
But anyway, definitely worth walking around maybe a little later and doing a video of the campus. It's like really, really beautiful out here.
It is stunning.
So, Lois, let's chat a little bit about you. You originally in South Africa, you were involved in a bunch of non-profits and organizations like that. Can you just run me through it again? What exactly did you do there?
So I launched I don't know if I'm supposed to look there or there.
Anyway, just a
Who
little
am I
bit there.
speaking to? I launched a non-profit organization through my franchise, which was called Prestige Baby and Kids Academy. And we launched the Foreign National Women's Project, which was for women coming from Congo, Zimbabwe, all over in the different civil war-torn African countries that South Africa is surrounded by. Of course, you all know the geography. And basically, we took illiterate women and we worked with them. So they would start as a cleaner in my school. And we have a skateboard coming by. And we would build them up from cleaner to assistant to teacher. And it was basically about giving someone an opportunity where you would never get one. So giving someone a foot in the door, giving them an opportunity to show what they can do and giving them a platform and just walking a road with them. I'm still to this day friends with multiple ladies, and we also took their children in. The one lady, little Andiswa, she flew him in from Zim, and he actually attended school for free at Prestige. So it really is about paying it forward and helping out.
Nice. Okay, so but you've had some issues medically in the last couple of years,
Yes.
while in Canada. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So this is something that I'm extremely passionate about, but is very hard to talk about too, because there's trauma involved with it. But in a nutshell, it's an autoimmune disease called lupus. It takes about between 4, but it's more 6 to 8 years to get a proper diagnosis. So what happens, and whether you're in Canada or in South Africa or in the UK, it's very difficult to diagnose. So what happens is you end up getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and your whole body starts shutting down. And before you get your diagnosis, you can't get proper treatment. So for me, this was about a year ago, believe it or not. I've bounced back, but I was fully wheelchair bound, fully housebound. There were times that my husband had to, help feed me. I lost full function of my hands. I couldn't stand. All my muscles, kidneys, lungs, heart, everything was being attacked. And I was waiting treatment. And I've now started treatment. So this is me, much healthier and ready to take on the world. Um, but it's something I was telling Carl about. I want to be able to help people that are navigating the Canadian healthcare system. It is a good system if you know how to navigate it. If you don't, you are going to struggle.
Okay. So why does it take so long to diagnose for a start?
So there's a very rigid criteria that you have to meet in order to get a formal diagnosis. But an autoimmune disease is similar to autism, where it's a spectrum. And every single person who has an autoimmune disease, their symptoms and how it's displayed within their body is different. And so even though you have this very rigid box, often if you don't meet the criteria for the rigid box, they are not allowed to treat you and they're not allowed to diagnose you. But it doesn't mean that you don't have lupus. So often my rheumatologist said to me, I can't diagnose you yet, but I know you have it.
Oh, wow.
We're waiting for the next blood test or the kidneys to start being attacked. And then it forms part of the puzzle.
Oh,
and
wow.
so it's a spectrum.
And
it's very
I mean,
complex.
Looking at you now, from what you described, you
Yes.
are healthy, walking
Yes.
around and everything. So in other words, what it means is that the treatment is there. Once you're diagnosed and they give you the right medicine, you're good to go.
100%. And it's I've been doing a lot of research, and I'm so grateful to be in Canada. I don't know what that noise is.
Don't worry, they
I
won't
think
hear
it's
it.
an irrigation system. But it's called rituximab. It's similar to chemotherapy. It's infusion treatment. It has a lot of side effects, but it costs the Canadian government between $2,000 and $8,000 to $10,000 per infusion. And you get it 2 to 3 times a year. So it is called biologics, and it actually deals with the root cause. So when you have lupus or you have autoimmune disease, and your heart gets attacked, you see a cardiologist and they give you heart medication. Your liver gets attacked, you have liver meds, and the list goes on. And in the end, you have all these side effects from, I was taking up to 36 tablets per day.
Wow.
And now I'm weaning off all my medicine, and I've got this world-renowned treatment that I'm getting in Canada that's changed my life. And I can now live a life with lupus, because some people do die from lupus. And I actually almost lost my life 5 times.
Wow.
In the past 2 years.
So the Canadian healthcare system, I mean, obviously they managed to get it done and they managed to get you sorted out.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's a question. I mean, it's one of the things lots of people talk about these days is the Canadian healthcare system. How good is it? And then everybody says, well, if something serious happens, you better be in Canada because that's where you're going to get sorted out.
Yes.
Is that how you feel still? Or is it like one of the complaints, obviously, is that it takes very long
100%.
to get something done here, because if you don't like have a broken leg or a heart attack or something where they have to treat you on the spot, you tend to wait quite a long time. So how do you navigate the Canadian healthcare system?
So for me, it's about advocating for yourself. So it doesn't mean now that because we have free healthcare that you don't still have to advocate for your own health. The biggest thing for me was getting hold of all my records, because what happens with the free healthcare system, and it's the same in the UK, is all the specialists don't necessarily 100% work together. And some specialists, because we're using the old fax system versus new modern systems, they actually have their own hub of records, but they can't necessarily see some of the government records. And so I demanded every single time, and this is something you need to remember, that it is your right to request a record, whether it be a referral, and I'll talk about referrals briefly just after this, whether it be a referral or it be a consult note. So every time you see a specialist, they have to write a consult note to your referring doctor. You can request that document, and you then utilize that document when you see your next specialist. Don't assume that your family doctor, if you have one, that's a whole different topic that everybody knows about.
Yeah.
We'll leave that be. But don't assume that they have sent all the relevant information, because the healthcare system is free. They are flooded. They are very busy. We all know we only have 15 minutes to 20 minutes to 30 minutes instead of what we used to in South Africa, where you have a whole hour sometimes,
Yeah, with
and
your
you
doctor.
get immediate help. So it's free, but everybody is using it. So they are busy and there's less time. So don't assume they are doing all the admin. Don't assume the MOAs, that is your medical office assistants, are sending those referrals incorrectly. Quick example, I had a specialist referral that went in a year ago, and I didn't follow up on it. I just assumed it went where it needed to go. And then we call it hurry up and wait. So then you wait for the call for your booking. And I didn't get a call. And a year and a half went by, and I phoned just to find out that the referral never arrived at the right offices in the first place. So request your referrals. When a referral goes in, ask where it's gone in, phone the MOA, make sure they've received it. So follow up and stay in touch with your records. Do I believe that it's a good system? I do, because as an example, if you have very serious illness that's chronic, there's no way, I speak to people with lupus in South Africa, that you can afford all your specialists. Your insurance will not cover all of them. You have to pay up front and then claim back.
Oh, wow.
And as an example, I still, to this current day, in my better health, I have 9 specialists. I have a cardiologist, a neurologist. I have multiple neurologists for different areas. So you have the central nervous system, the brain, different areas. And it's all free. There's no way, no matter what huge corporate job I had, that I would be able to pay all of that up front and claim it back without tapping out on my health insurance in South Africa.
Of course.
And then medication. Like I said, my treatment is free. And so is my additional physio. It gets very complex. So I would say I'm very lucky. I probably would not be alive if I wasn't here, to be honest.
Amazing. Well, we're glad you are. So let's move on to something else now.
Something happy.
So let me just give you a little bit of a background on what happened here. Lois actually is a subscriber on my newsletter, and I sent out that newsletter with the classifieds idea, and she came back to me and we connected. And as it turns out, because of Lois's illness, she's got a wage subsidy from Work BC, which is another thing which is amazing out here in Canada. Because she was sick and she wasn't able to work, they gave her a wage subsidy. So the government of BC, or Work BC, actually pays a portion of her salary, and slowly they pay less and less of it, but they help cover the costs of Lois to get back into the job market, which is absolutely amazing. And they have a lot of programs like that, right?
Tons of programs.
Anyway, so long story short, we connected around this idea of building the South African community and helping South Africans, especially with Lois's background in non-profits and all that. So she convinced me to turn it into a non-profit. And hence, here we are. I put in the registration for the South African Institute of Canada yesterday. And the idea of this is to create a non-profit organization with the sole goal of helping South Africans integrate and navigate the Canadian system, whether it's Canadian healthcare, Canadian business, all of that. So the idea is to really help everybody out. Anyway, so yeah, do you want to tell us what you think about this idea and what your ideas are?
I just want to take a quick moment. Julle almal ken vir Kali. So my Afrikaans is nie meer so baie goed nie. So I just wanted to thank him for giving me the opportunity to even be part of this. I answered to a dog sitting advert as well, and then mentioned the wage subsidy. And I said, I'm a South African struggling to find work. This is my healthcare situation. And, I have this wage subsidy, and I need to work from home. And this is my heart. And this is how this has all started. So we are very excited for the South African Institute of Canada, which is the official name for the nonprofit organization. House It Canada. And then we'll have House It BC and all the different provinces. And what it is it's a hub of resources where everything is in one space. But Carl's heart for it is really it's not just about financial immigration and where to go get things notarized and how to navigate the transit system. It's also about community, find a friend, connect with someone close to you. My heart is even something I'd like to keep discussing with Carl, is to get to a place where when you land, you are actually set up with a host family that is right on your doorstep in your area, that kind of just takes you under their wing, invites you over for a nice South African meal, and just helps you feel comfortable and settled. And it really is trying to be there for teenagers, the mummies, the working force, but it is also to navigate all the bureaucracy and red tape, which is needed, but is a lot to deal with in Canada.
That is true, yeah. So I guess the thing is, what we want to try and do is, the idea is to basically create, like Lois said, when you arrive here or when new people arrive here, and even for the people that's been here a long time, to create a network, because that's something that's super important out here in Canada. It's like, to find jobs, to do things, you need a network. And our networks are right on the other side of the planet. I mean,
yes.
I've got a huge network in South Africa. I can get anything done over there.
We've left our networks behind.
I can get anything done over there. Getting something done over here and just getting the information is always a difficult part. And that is the goal of this organization. We really want to create something that just helps South Africans integrate into Canadian society easier. It's not to create a little South Africa out here in Canada. That's not the idea. The idea is to actually just help South Africans with the information that they need, with the connections that they need, with the network that they need to integrate into Canadian society. So it's super exciting. We are kicking it off in the next few days. Lois will
Lots happening.
Lois will be reaching out to people. She'll be putting together everything. She's the one that's going to be in charge of that. So interesting times.
And just on that note, a call for volunteers. So if this is something that you would want to be part of, we're still busy with the admin side of actually creating the different roles and what tasks would be needed. But please just give me a shout out or to Carl if you are interested in being part of this and offering your services, so that we can really, really kick things off.
All right, brilliant. Well, guys, that's Lois, and I think that's it for this one. Cheers.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.